with Joey Ramos. I know better than that. He had a high ankle, but it's a little worse than we anticipated. He's out for the season. Ed Woods, he will be out this game. Des Holmes is questionable. Davis is back, and Clark is game time decision. That's kind of where we are with the injury update, or however you want to call it. And I talked to Joey and told him I apologize for saying what I said, because I should know better. But I was just taking it for what I heard on the sideline, and I should have got all the information. And so I'm sorry if I put you guys at a place where you don't want to be. The one thing I don't do is fabricate stuff. I don't try to trick people. I'm trying to truth kind of guy, just trying to say it the way I say it. I apologize for that. Okay. That being said, we have a game this week, obviously, against a very, very, very good football team. They're very confident, very aggressive in all three phases of football. They have an identity of what they want to do offensively, how they play defensively, very explosive. Quarterback is really good. I mean, it's just watch him on tape, and it's kind of fun to watch. Can make the unannounced play, can extend plays. They have a gifted receiver core, some good runners offensively, very explosive. I mean, they score points. I was talking to our team, and I said, it's kind of interesting. You score 40 points and you don't win. That's generally a pretty good deal. You score 40 points, you got a chance to win. And Central Michigan did a nice job of scoring some points. It just wasn't enough. Defensively, this team is very aggressive. Play a lot of man-to-man coverage, challenge you. They've got some good rushers, and Coach Mason's done a nice job over there. And special team wise, they've got a punter, left-footed punter. Here we go, left-footed punters. And so their special teams is good. They're very well coached. Coach Gundy's done a nice job there. Dunn is the OC, and Mason's the DC. So they're a really good football team. Great venue to play in, obviously. We better be ready for that. It's very, very noisy there. Quarterback does a lot with the cadence. Does a good job with the cadence. And you could see that on tape against Central Michigan. Got him to jump off sides 3 or 4 times. Does a nice job with that. And then offensively, the noise of the crowd. We got to deal with all that. So this is our first time together as a team going on the road, and special place to play, obviously. And we better be prepared to do that, because we're going to have to play. We have to play at our best. There's no doubt. Questions?
Chris Carmen, Son of a Source. Herm, we heard through the preseason from Mike Kavanaugh and Glenn Thomas that the O-line depth was kind of a strength. 7 guys. So getting Des Holmes back, I'm assuming he'll play right tackle. You had the battle between Glass and Boley at left tackle. Just your thoughts about how the line functioned, and then what you think about those kind of newer guys.
I thought, great question. I thought the depth was good. Now, obviously, losing Joey doesn't help it, right? But there's some young guys that have been in there, and what Coach has done, he's done a nice job of really moving guys around, playing dual positions, right? And that showed up for us. But we've got a good crew. We've got a crew that has some experience. It's like anything else, they got to play together. When you think about that offense, the offensive line really, except for Ladarius and Ben, played together. The receivers are young. They haven't played together. Tight ends haven't played together. Right? Quarterback didn't know any of them until after spring, right? So it's a new group coming together. And I thought for the most part, after the first quarter, they got kind of going, and found a little bit. And they need to get going this week for sure, because it's kind of one of those games.
And Coach, just piggybacking on the offense too, you want to run the ball, but how big are X and Daniel a part of this game plan for you against them?
Well, that's when you look at our record. Over 200 yards, we're 15-1. So now, with that being said, guess what Oklahoma State's going to do? And they can do it. they're gonna put some guys in the box and say, you're not gonna run the ball, and can you beat us throwing the ball, right? And so that's the first thing you think about. They look at us and they go, hey, they want to run the ball, but I think you still have to be able to do that. You can't give up on that, and hopefully the score doesn't get away where all of a sudden you have to abandon it, because you guys have watched this play. We've been fortunate here. We've had some good offensive line coaches and we've had some good running backs. So I've been here. And yeah, they showed up. The running back showed up. The run game showed up. They ran the ball for what? Almost 300 yards, 260 something yards, right? And so that's important. We have to be able to run. That's a little bit of our identity. That kind of is our offense a little bit, along with some other things that we want to do. But we found a way to win a game, which was important. Yeah, you can. Mm-hmm. Still, he's questionable. He's getting better. He had a hammy, and it's getting better. So he's gonna be available. I don't know if it's this week. Game time decision probably for him as well. But the D line, we got some depth there, which is kind of good. We got some good depth there. Well, it's the old statement, next guy up. It's just there's nothing you can do about it. You got to play the guys that are available. And I tell guys that all the time. You're one hit away or a helmet coming off where you got to go in the game. And you got to prepare that way. That's what football's about. It's really your preparation of the guys that might not be starters, might be in a rotation. All of a sudden you're in a starting role, and instead of playing 20 plays, you got to play 50 plays. And that's what you find out. Everybody wants to play till they got to go play. Right? Oh, I want to play. Yeah, we'll go play and see how it feels to play. There's difference between playing 15 snaps and 30 snaps, right? And so you got to prepare yourself for that. Just the stamina of doing that and the anxiety of doing that alone is hard. And sometimes people don't realize that. I've been fortunate. That I've been on teams where guys understand that and they get it. And if they do, it helps you. But if they don't, then you have a little bit of a problem.
Hi, Herm Edwards, Devil's Digest. Is there something to be said that Glenn Thomas didn't want to tip his hand, and thus maybe the pedestrian, I don't know if that's too strong of a word, passing numbers by Emory?
Well, I just think if you look at the game, and I think I was posed that question. Well, what do you want to, what is your identity? And I said, it's about how you win a football game. And what if you have to do that? You want to do that. And I thought for the most part, we went into the game feeling that we had an opportunity to control the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball. So with that being said, it was just a matter of what is that going to look like? And after the first quarter came to fruition, right? And from there, it was like, okay, let's just work on what we have to work on. Offensively and defensively, let's make it very simple, because we're just trying to win a game, right? And how do you do that? And when you see it unfolding, you don't need to do anything. And it came to a point to where it was, look, I'm not one of those guys that I've never been this way, where you try to get as many players in the game as you can, and you simplify it and let them play and gain experience. I'm not about running up scores. I've never done that, even in pro football. I just don't. I was taught that by my coaches when I was a young kid, and I don't do that. And some people say that's what you got to do. And no, you don't. I don't believe that. I believe you're just trying to win a game, either by 1 point, 10 points, 7 points, 3 points. It's a win. They don't give you more wins because of how many points you score. You get to win or you get to lose, and that's how I look at it.
Jake Anderson, Arizona Sports. Herm, with the 21st anniversary of 9/11 being the day after the game, what can you say about Pat Tillman, not only for the state of Arizona, but also for your football program?
I happen to be the head coach of the New York Jets when 9/11 hit. I'll never forget that day the rest of my life. And now you think about it, it just seems like it was yesterday, but it wasn't. And I think my proudest moment as a football coach was that the New York Jets went down there and went to the site and helped the first responders. We brought in water and supplies and saw all those people down there. And the rebuilding of it, I've been back since. But you don't forget that day. And it's something that in the history books, people will read about it 30 years from now. I witnessed it, saw it. And it's just, every time I get to this day, I think about it. I think about all the lives that were lost and all the people that were the heroes, true heroes that went in those buildings trying to get people out, and it's one thing when you're a couple states away, when you're American, how America came together and the red, white, and blue was what it was all about, but when you're there and you really see it, it was a sight that I was like a movie. I thought I was watching a movie, to be quite honest, but it was real. God bless all those that were involved in the rescue and all those that have perished. We continue to pray for those families because it affected a lot of people more than people can imagine. And it still affects a lot of those people today, believe it or not. Yeah, I think it's a great venue. I just talked to the reporter there down at the university, and just the atmosphere of it, I think, and the team and the caliber team you're playing too. You're playing a very good football team. They've got a great home venue. It's college football. You're going down there, and it's kind of what guys see on television, right? Now you're gonna be on television. You're gonna be in that stadium, right? And so I think our guys are excited, but I think they're also focused in on we got to really play good in all three phases. We do, and I think they know that. They know exactly that, and the more you watch them on tape, the more you realize that hey, we got to do a lot of things right. Right. You talk to them about well, they came in, they were off today. They came in Saturday, ran around a little bit, or Sunday, ran around a little bit, and we talked a little bit about it, but I wanted them just to enjoy the win and all that stuff. And tomorrow's, for me, more of a focus on the plan, on what's about to take place. You kind of, you don't want to build it up too much, too fast, right? I got some days to get to where we need to go. And that's how I think. I think like a player. And I try to come up with certain things every day to get them start thinking about this is what it's going to feel like when we walk out there. Right? So that's day at a time.
Coach Jordan Ham, Sports 360 AZ. What was your reaction to the college football playoff expansion?
Oh, I'm not surprised. Were you guys? Yeah, come on. What did I say before? TV runs it. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, how many NFL teams go to playoff? 12? There's only 32 teams. Think about that. That didn't surprise me. I mean, there's more than 32 college football teams. There's 32 NFL teams, and 6 of them go to playoff. I've been fortunate to go to playoffs a bunch as a coach and as a player. But yeah, why wouldn't you do that? I mean, that's a lot in that now, and that's why you see these teams looking at conferences. Let me ask you this: they get 12. How many do you think coming out of the SEC? Right? I mean, TV is powerful tool. And you get a bunch of fans. There's a bunch of college fans out there, man, all over the country. You see it when you watch Saturdays and you watch all these games. And football's the #1 sport right now in America. Didn't used to be that when I was growing up. It was baseball. But it's football now. And that's a good thing for football, for everybody. That's just a football fan. And I don't say that, baseball people, but football, and you have that many college teams. I mean, 12 is not like, to me, that wasn't a big number. I anticipated at least 10 or more. because it makes sense. Why wouldn't you do that? And it gives every conference a chance. You know, you sit there and go, hey, we got a shot at this deal. And that's what you're selling going forward as a program. Hey, look, all these teams can be in the playoffs. You know, you get this many teams. We got a chance to get in the playoffs. I mean, certain teams, you know, 4 teams is hard, man. That's hard sledding. You see really good teams lose one game and all of a sudden they're out. We beat Oregon at one year, right? Here. And they were out. They're a good football team. They were a good football team. And it's just, but now you got more opportunities. And that's what you sell as a coach. That's what you sell as your program. And that's good for college football.
And then one other rule question, just how do you see the offseason being impacted with the new transfer windows being put in place?
First of all, you got to recruit your own guys. You got to keep recruiting. When the season's over with, you're talking about going to get some other guys. Well, how about keeping the guys I got? Right? Because you're recruiting from, can we keep my guys? How many high school players do I want to go after? How many portal guys do I want to go after? It's just according to what your roster looks like, right? Our roster was in a position where we had to go get experienced football players because we lost so many guys, right? To the NFL, to guys going in the portal, all those things were a part of it. So I just think every year you have to have an idea of what your roster is going to look like. But the first thing about your roster is the guys you brought in, you better be recruiting those guys to make sure they don't want to go anywhere. Right? That's kind of important too. He hits the hole very quickly and then makes decisions, right? I thought early in the game, because we talked about it so much offensively, was don't turn the ball over, right? And I thought he was a cautious runner his first couple runs. Watching him in practice and then watching him in the game, I was like, oh. And I sat down with him after about the second series or so. And I told all those running backs, I said, look, there's one guy we can't block. That's your job to make him miss. Wish I'd have told him sooner. He started running. And, you know, and all of them started running. And I just think that that's sometimes you forget about a guy that's new to your program. And, you know, he's doing everything right. He's a fabulous football player and a great teammate. And I thought for his first game out, he was really good. All those running backs were really good. They did a good job. Yeah. I didn't. I saw it. I saw the highlights. I texted him before the game. That's, I'll leave it at that because it's a private conversation. So, yeah. Yes.
We kind of talked about when they play a game, not going to do that good. Game, so going into the water and having a game under your belt, what kind of are those expectations that you sort of have to face off one game that you're
That we keep our composure. In an environment where it's going to be really loud and it's on the road and all those things. How do we handle that now? Did a pretty good job here. It was what, 3-0? And I looked at them and I was good. I looked at them and I said, they're in a good place. No one was very, very good. We're workmanlike, you know, and that was good to see. Now we're going on the road. And obviously, you know, when you go to the sideline, it's going to be a little louder. It won't, you know, there'll be, and how do they handle that, right? And so I just think it's another experience we're going to experience together as a team, and we'll figure that out when I see it. But I think these guys they will hopefully stay calm, stay focused on the job at hand. Yes, sir. Oh. Pretty good, and Donnie played. You know, we made it simple. Felt like, you know, we were good enough to cover him. It's interesting because they've got a good secondary and they play a lot of man, and that's going to be a big part of this deal. You know, how their back end covers our guys, and can we cover their guys, right? And then the key to me is the quarterback. You know, how do you keep that guy in there? He really, boy, he's something. He's fun to watch. You know, he just makes all the throws, got a strong arm, and they got some good receivers. You know, and they've been in this offense. And they have, he has a sense of things. And when he extends the play, they kind of know what to do, you know, because they played with the quarterback. And so they're really good on offense. And defensively, they're very aggressive. Okay, thank you.
Really reminds me of that guy from Utah. He's a pretty good athlete, can move around, extends plays, knows where the ball's got to go, makes all the checks, and pretty good player, really.
You try to pressure him. I don't want to get your game plan, but you try to keep him in the pocket.
Listen to
pressure.
that.
Maybe I do want the game plan.
I'm a full-out blitz. No, I think based on what I see right now, I'm a little bit concerned about, you know, they protect well. You know, they'll sit in 7 or 8 man protection. So if you're bringing guys, you know, with the skill guys they got at the receiving core, you know, they got some athletes there too. So you got to pick your poison, I would say. Down and distance, formations, where the game is headed, how you're playing, one of those type of deals. But I do think you got to mix it up and to keep them off balance. You can't just sit there and be too conservative and think you're going to beat a pretty good team. That's people don't realize that's been pretty good for years. You know, all you hear about is Oklahoma, but they could go up the street, and Oklahoma State's pretty good too. So I'm gonna have to keep them off balance a little bit, bring a little pressure, play a lot zone, and see how we go from there.
And just to follow up, Donnie, you know they're going to have some success offensively. How do you keep your guys mentally into the situation where you want them to be?
I think the biggest thing that's besides the quarterback, the other concern I have is the tempo. You know, they're on the ball a lot, and that can become frustrating if I don't get the calls out to the defense. They become uneasy a little bit. So that's one of the other concerns I have is the tempo of the game. So I got to make sure that I'm in stride with, you know, them running off, them running on, them on the ball. You know, those things are going to be the factor, I think.
Ethan Ryder, Sun Devil Source. I talked to you after the game about Merlin Robertson. You said you wanted to look at the tape. What did you think about his performance after looking at
I think he played well. He was physical. I mean, you've seen some plays he made in open field. This couple of screens, he made some great tackles and was physical. And I thought he played well as far as making the adjustments when motion came towards him. You know, sometimes he had to get out of the box. Sometimes he had to come back into the box. Those things. I think he had maybe 2 mental errors. When I think about what they gave me, I think he had 2 mental errors. I don't know exactly what they were, but overall, so like I said, I wanted to look at the tape. Now, after looking at the tape, he played well.
Kevin Renford, House of Sparky. What about DJ Taylor? Obviously, the defensive back room is getting a little bit thinner, and he's got experience dabbling at a ton of those positions. Where do you see him roaming around potentially?
Besides playing the nickel?
Yes.
No.
On outside or anything?
No. I think what he's got to do and what we got to do is let him mature and play the nickel spot and come along and understand that what people don't realize, that's probably one of the toughest positions because you're playing their third receiver, usually who's their first receiver when they go 3 wides. So they're bringing him in for a reason. And a lot of passes go to him, meaning the third receiver. So we're going to leave DJ alone. I think he learned some things that you have to get in the fire to really realize how fast people are and how nifty receivers are. So, I mean, it's going to be a learning stage for him, so to speak. But I'm not going to move him, if that's the question. No, we'll let him stay there and let him learn that position.
Going back to the injuries now with Woods not playing, obviously TaMarcus is back and Jordan, we're not sure yet. Concerned about kind of the depth there still?
Well, you're always concerned about the depth, especially at the corner position. You know, when those guys go down, you know, you got to have corners that can run, obviously change directions. And if their lower extremities are bad, that's a problem. But I'm still happy by getting guys back. Unfortunate for Ed to first game starting and he gets injured, but
What was his ailment?
I think it's the lower extremity. I think I'm not sure exactly what it is, but to get TD back is should be good.
Coach, for son of a source, having no sacks against NAU wasn't really an issue as far as, getting them out of their rhythm because you were just kind of able to do that just as far as the talent disparity. Is that going to be an emphasis going into Stillwater a little bit more?
Trying to get sacks.
Yeah, just get pressure.
I don't know. Pressure and sacks, two different things to me.
Yeah.
I mean, if we hitting the quarterback after he delivers the ball, that's as good as sacking him at times. You know, the biggest thing for me is I would prefer to have more hits on the quarterback because you're not going to get more sacks. It just doesn't happen that way. You know, so if you get more hits on the quarterback, that's a plus for us.
Are there any changes that you feel need to be made, or do you feel they did a good enough job and you're just going to try and carry that over into this next game against Oklahoma State?
Well, it's just the situations. You know, third down, you'd like to see guys get up the field and be a little bit more physical and faster and hitting the quarterbacks. But when it's first and second down, you got to play. You know, you got to play standard defense and make sure you control the line of scrimmage. Now, if we get in those situations where it's third and second and long, where we can, open up the line a little bit and let them run some games, things like that, we'll do that. But I'm more interested on hits than sacks. If you get sacks, great. But if you hit the quarterback as much as you hit the quarterback compared to you might get 3 or 4 sacks a game, but you can hit the quarterback 8, 9, 10 times, and that's just as good at times. Well, I think it's going to be big. I mean, we're going on the road to play a great opponent, and we'd like to show well, obviously, compete, be physical, keep the ball in front, try to contain the quarterback, play our style of defense, so to speak. The noise is going to be an issue. Well, it won't be for them, obviously, because they'll be quiet. But the tempo for me is going to be the difference, making sure we understand that. As far as where we're at defensively right now, you're absolutely right. I think I might have said between 2 and 3 games, you start to figure out who you are. And we're still trying to figure that out. I mean, let's be honest. We played a pretty good game last week. And I'll leave it at that. The opponent was the opponent, but we're going to play somebody that you'll be able to measure yourself a little bit when you come out of that game. Let's say we win the game and it's 20-21, I'll be happy. If we win the game, it's 54-53, I'm still gonna be happy. So I'm still trying to find it. I think we're forming the identity a little bit. We still don't know exactly what it is.
Coach Edwards mentioned Sanders' hard cadence as potentially one of the challenges for you guys' defense. You didn't have too many as far as penalties. It's
we gave up a touchdown.
True.
We gave up a touchdown when we jumped offside.
Total volume, right? That wasn't necessarily compared to last season's opener.
Yeah,
a lot more improved. Going into this game, what are some of the things that you're trying to really get across to them to make sure that
just what he said. I mean, we got to look at the ball. We can't be listening to the cadence, and that's what happened to us in the game. Like we intercept the ball, take it back, and next thing you know, we're offsides. And those are penalties before the ball's even snapped. You can't do that. So yeah, this guy has drawn, I think like four. They got 4 offsides last week, I believe. I'm not sure of the number, but I know it was over 3. So I mean, his cadence and his voice, we can't be listening to that. We got to look at the ball. So yeah, we took away a touchdown. Come on, how many times you get a chance to score in this game? We scored twice, 2, and both of them was penalties. So we got to do a better job with that. Stay on sides. Don't hold. How's that? Let us get to the end zone. Okay, guys. Everybody.